There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to nutrition, and really, I feel like it's something that overcomplicates nutrition, and it really discourages a lot of people from going into fitness because it just seems too complicated. But really, I don't think it needs to be that way. I think that nutrition can actually be simplified, and really, there's 6 main factors that ultimately determine like what a good diet is or what good nutrition is overall. And I kind of have them ranked in order of importance, but once it gets like past 1 and 2 and 3, it becomes a little less important, I guess. Like they're all kind of the same in importance, if you know what I mean. But really, I feel like these 6 factors really determine what a good diet is, and these are what you need to know when it comes to nutrition. So really, before I get into these, I want to kind of say that I really don't encourage any kind of crash diets or fad diets. I think there's a lot of stupid diets out there. If I'm being quite honest, I might offend you. I don't really care because I think these diets are straight up stupid. But I think that keto is a bad one. I think that the carnivore diet is also a stupid diet. I think that paleo, I guess it's all right, but it's not as bad as the first 2 I mentioned, but that's another bad one in my opinion. I think that any diet that has you like eating like one food, like bars or juices, I think it's a horrible diet too. And I think that like ones that have you eat like out of designated containers, I think those don't really make much sense either. I think there's a lot of really confusing diets, and I think, you don't need to cut out any sort of food group to really reach your goals. And I'm gonna be explaining why. What nutrition really comes down to, based off science, my experience, and the experience of like millions of other people, literally everyone on the earth, because these are the most important factors when it comes to nutrition. All right, so you're wondering, what's the most important factor in nutrition? The most important factor, how do I lose weight? What it comes down to is calories. Basically, like I've said many times before, your body uses calories as units of energy. So when you're doing physical activity, you are burning calories. When you are eating, you are consuming calories. So really what it comes down to is if you're in a calorie surplus or a deficit. So really, your calories, like I said, they're in energy form. So if your body burns more calories than you're consuming, you're gonna be using energy. Your body's gonna have to use energy in the form of body weight. Therefore, you're gonna be losing weight. If you're eating in a surplus of calories, more calories than you're burning, your body's gonna be recurring it as potential energy, right? In the form of weight. So you're gonna gain weight. If you're burning and losing at the same time, this is kind of common sense. You're basically gonna be at maintenance because your body's not gonna be needing to lose or gain weight. So whether you lose or gain weight depends on your calorie intake. Basically, your calories in versus your calories out. That's what it comes down to. People overcomplicate this. They don't understand it. Any kind of diet that has yet cut out food groups or whatever, that's basically what they're trying to accomplish with this. Keto, they have you cut out carbs. You're not consuming a ton of carbs, and you're gonna probably be losing weight because of that. The carnivore diet, you're also not eating any carbs, from what I understand. You're gonna be losing weight from that too. The paleo diet, you're not gonna be eating a lot of processed foods, which usually are high in calories. You're gonna be losing weight from that. And all these diets that have like measuring stuff out in containers, you're basically in a calorie deficit. That's what it comes down to, guys. And that's why I think some of these diets are just straight up stupid, because calories determine whether you lose or gain weight. If you want to be guaranteed to lose or gain weight, you need to track your calories. So that's what it really comes down to. I think that some diets too, like keto, they don't have you track calories. But with keto, you're allowed to eat a ton of protein and fats. If you eat a lot of high fat meats all the time, you eat a lot of peanut butter or whatever, you're probably not going to lose weight because there's so much fat and that's a lot of calories. So that's why I think tracking calories is the most important thing, and you can fit foods you like in your diet as long as it fits your calorie intake for the day. So that's basically the most important diet. I went off on a little tangent talking about how important calorie intake is. But really, if you're wondering what you want to do to lose weight or gain weight, to lose weight, you want to be in a calorie deficit. I'm not going to go too much in depth, but generally speaking, you're going to want to aim to lose about 1 pound to 2 per week, roughly 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. And to accomplish this, you need to usually be eating around like 500 to 1,000 calorie deficit per day on average. And to gain weight, you're going to want to aim to gain weight at a slower rate than you would to lose weight. 1 to 4 pounds per month, depending on your experience level. To accomplish this, you want to be likely eating a 100 to 500 calorie surplus per day. So these factors all depend on different things. I'm not gonna go too much in depth with that, but those are the general numbers you want to be. If you're a beginner, you're likely gonna be able to go more towards the higher end, or if like you don't have a lot of muscle mass or you're higher in body fat percentage for losing weight, you can go more towards the higher end. But usually the more advanced you are, the slower you're gonna need to go. And also the smaller you are too. If you're a bigger person, you can usually go faster with these things. But I'm not gonna go too much in depth because these are another topic. I kinda wanna make this a quicker video. So all right, the next most important thing when it comes to nutrition with your success in training is gonna be your protein intake. So this one kind of goes to the next one, which I'll go into, but your protein intake really is important because protein is basically the building block of muscle. It's used by your cells to repair tissue, and it's used in cell functioning, right? So protein is a very important macronutrient. And really, I talked about calories before. Just because you're in a calorie deficit doesn't mean you're gonna lose all fat. Just because you're in a calorie surplus doesn't mean you're gonna gain all muscle. But protein will have a large influence on this because protein, like I said, is the building block of muscle. The harder you're training, or the more you're training, the more physical activity you're doing, you need more protein. And the protein recommendations by the FDA are total BS because it's like 50 or 60 grams per day. That's what it's supposed to be for the average adult that does nothing. The average person is lazy and doesn't do anything all day, so they don't need protein. But if you lift weights and you're active, you're probably gonna need like 3 times that. I'm not kidding you guys. Depending on like how much you weigh and stuff, obviously, but you're gonna need much more than the recommendation. So what I recommend for protein. So if you're trying to gain weight, you don't need quite as much protein. The general recommendation is 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight when you're bulking. And for cutting, when you're trying to lose weight, your body is in an energy deprived state. You're gonna need more protein to preserve your muscle, so you're gonna wanna go a little higher. Usually around 1 to 1.5 per grams of body weight. So personally, I always go more towards the higher end because I don't really see any harm in doing that. Protein also has a higher thermic effect, which means when you eat more protein, you're gonna be burning more calories from that. It takes your body more calories to digest protein than other macronutrients. And additionally, it also makes you a bit more full, helps you feel more satiated. So honestly, I don't see any harm in going higher in protein. I go higher than both of these. My coach has me in 1.25 grams and I'm bulking right now. I think it's a little much, but it works for me. I'm not seeing any downsides of it. So personally, I don't see any harm in going higher. If you want to go higher in this, you can. Just don't go to the point where you're eating like 2 or 3 grams per pound of body weight. That will jack up your liver. But the recommendations I gave you, like generally speaking, like 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight, that'll work for you. You should be fine doing that. As long as you're active and training hard, it will be beneficial for you. So that's my general recommendation for protein. One more thing about protein too is that people say, oh, it'll jack up your organs. Well, that's if you're not using it. As for the average person, like I said, if you're active, training especially, you're trying to build muscle, your body's gonna need more protein. So really, it's not gonna harm you. Just don't go to the point where you're eating a ridiculous amount of protein. All right, so now I talked about protein. I'm gonna be talking about the other macronutrients, which brings me to my next point. The third most important thing in your diet is gonna be macronutrients. So really, this is protein, fat, and carbohydrates, and alcohol, which I'll talk about a little bit, but mainly protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So your macronutrients basically make up your nutrition. The calories and from your macronutrients make up the total calories in your overall calorie intake for the day. And with protein, you're gonna basically be aiming for the targets of what I said up there. For fat, you should want to aim for about 20 to 40% of your calories from fats. So the reason why I want to do this is because you don't want to have your fats too low or too high, because if you have your fats too high, you're likely sacrificing calories from carbohydrates. I think a lot of fats can also make you a bit bloated too as well. If you have it too low, then it's bad for your functioning because fats are another essential macronutrient for your cells. I'm a biology major, so I know this stuff. It's basically used in like any kind of like tissue structure. So really, you need your fats. And it's also good for optimal hormone production, like testosterone especially. So you need your fats for that reason too. So when you're dieting, you likely want to go on the lower end, bulking usually higher end. I usually go for 20 to 30% of my calories, but if you're a hard gainer or a person that eats like 6,000 calories a day, then I say go towards 40% if you're trying to put weight on, honestly. There's no harm in that. Now, basically you calculate your calories from carbs and your fats, which have 9 calories per gram, by the way. From your protein, your fats. You subtract the calories from that and you get your total number of calories left. Then you divide that by 4 because there's 4 calories per gram in a carb, and that's your carb intake for the day. it basically, to sum things up, your remaining calories will be from your carbs. So your carbs are good because you need them for energy. I see all these keto Karens or keto warriors being like, carbs will make you fat. They'll make you fat. Yeah, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Because really, the reason why they lose weight is because they're in a calorie deficit, not because they're cutting out carbs. It's just funny watching these people like run in circles with this. But really, you don't want to cut out carbs completely if you can afford to, especially if you're trying to gain weight. That's just a stupid idea because carbs will make it easier to get more calories in. But if you're trying to lose weight especially, you need carbs for your energy. You need carbs to have energy to train hard, which is really important. And I think really, if you're losing weight, there's no reason to cut out carbs completely unless you absolutely have to. Or if like you're prepping for a bodybuilding show and you're dieting down to like hardcore single digit body fat. At that point, you have to like just suffer and your life becomes a living hell. But some people do that for fun. I'm gonna do it next year, so that'll be cool. But really, you don't need to cut out your carbs. They're important to have energy to train hard and build muscle and make progress. So really, don't do that. Now, one thing about macronutrients too is that you can be flexible with it. You don't have to have the same macronutrient intake every day. Let's say one day your protein intake is about 30% of your diet, then your fat intake is 29%, and then your carbs are 41%. And say the day after you do 45% of your calories from carbs, and then you do 20% of your calories, like 21% of your calories from fat. Then you do 34% of your calories from protein. I mean, and your protein intake is still roughly around your body weight or whatever target you're aiming for. That's fine, because really your calorie intake matters total. Generally speaking, if you're in these ranges, you're gonna be fine. You just don't wanna have your fat too low and your protein not spot on. Okay, so the next one I wanna talk about is gonna be meal timing. So meal timing is one that I really didn't really think much about when I first started training, and I've really been taking seriously the last couple of years. I think it's really affected my progress tremendously and really helped me a lot because I really realized what matters. So generally speaking, you want to have 4 to 6 meals of protein per day, spaced about 3 to 6 hours apart, because 6 meals of protein per day, spaced about 3 to 6 hours apart, because your body can go into muscle protein synthesis, I think up to like 4 times per day or 5 times per day. You want to have protein available for that, for your body to use. Obviously you can't eat protein when you're sleeping, so you can't really do that then, but the rest of the day, your body can build muscle and you want to have protein readily available. So really, I don't think fasting is optimal if you're trying to build muscle. If you're just a person that's trying to lose weight or get low in shape, I don't think it really matters that much. But if you're trying to like really maximize your gym results to get really big or strong, I think honestly having protein spread throughout the day is going to be good for you. So that's the big thing. The next thing too is I think it's good to add carbs throughout the day too as well, because really it keeps your energy steady and allows you to be productive during the day and your glycogen at steady levels. But one thing I really noticed too is it's good to have your carbs centered around your workout. So you have your carbs kind of spaced throughout the day, but your pre-workout, post-workout meal are the highest in carbs because you have more carbs pre-workout to fuel your training and post-workout carbs to help replenish glycogen to the muscles after you've trained really hard. Also intra-workout nutrition too. Gatorade is a good one to get some quick sugars in. I think quicker carbs are good for intra-workout, like candy or Gatorade or stuff like that. I personally don't like eating during workouts, so I stick with Gatorade, but it helps your performance a lot actually. So, and I get much better pumps when I have my Gatorade. So carbs centered around your workouts, but also throughout the day is good. So that's basically what I've noticed. It's good to just eat balanced meals throughout the day too as well. So that's really of meal timing to sum things up. Okay, so micronutrients. Micronutrients are basically your vitamins and your minerals. Like basically nutrients your body needs for proper functioning, and not your macronutrients. So these are all the little ones, right? So the thing about this is that's why it's important to have good food quality, which is actually the next point. But if you just eat a ton of sugar and candy and ice cream and like pizza all day, you're not gonna get enough micronutrients in. So that's why you can have that stuff, but really you don't want to have like a ton of that stuff because you're not gonna be getting your proper micronutrients in. It's good to get this in by eating nutrient dense foods, good quality foods. Another way to guarantee this is to take a multivitamin pill every day, because really it determines no matter what you're getting your micronutrients and your basic ones you need. It's also good to have about 4 to 6 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. that's what I recommend for getting your micronutrients in. Multivitamin pill and 4 to 6 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. All right, this leads me to my final point, which is going to be food quality. This is one you're probably all wondering about. So here's the thing with food quality that I really always like to think about. Like I just said, being in a calorie deficit or surplus is going to determine whether you lose or gain weight. And your macronutrients, your protein intake determines like how much of it's going to be fat or muscle. So does food quality matter at all? Like if you're taking the multivitamin pill and getting your micronutrients in, does it really matter? I think it definitely does, because I'm about to explain why. So if you're eating like a ton of junk food all the time, how do you think you're gonna feel if you just eat a ton of sugar, having these sugar rushes all the time, every meal? Do you think you're gonna have energy to function throughout the day or train hard? You're probably not. But let's say instead you're eating well-balanced meals with complex carbohydrates. You're likely gonna have more steady streams of energy throughout the day. And you're gonna have energy to train harder. And when you're training harder, you're gonna be breaking down more muscle fibers, allowing you to preserve muscle when you're dieting or build it when you're bulking. So really, that's why I think it matters. It's gonna really affect how you feel and how your performance is. Because if you're just eating a ton of crap, you're not gonna have fuel to train hard. So generally speaking, you wanna aim for complete proteins, proteins that are complete. So have all 9 amino acids, generally animal products. And it's also just easier to get protein from those. But you can eat other stuff too. I mean, it all adds up. Like if you have a good variety of protein sources, it will add up. If like you're a vegan or something, which I think is not optimal, but you can make progress doing that. So that's basically for protein. For fats, you want to aim for healthier fats. Generally speaking, ones that are not saturated. So some good examples are going to be avocados, guacamole, eggs, peanut butter, nuts, natural seeds. I think natural seed oils, olive oil. I haven't researched these fats too much, like out of protein and carbohydrates, but these are some good ones. So for carbs, you want to have complex carbs. Basically, there's a difference between simple and complex carbs. Basically, to sum things up, simple carbs digest much faster, and they don't last they're not in your bloodstream as long as complex carbs. So you want to have complex carbs, which are generally going to be like whole grains, fruits, vegetables, pasta, and other stuff like that. Those are generally slower digesting. So you want to aim for those. So you might be wondering, can I eat any junk food? Absolutely. I think it's good to have balance in your diet, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to stick to it. And honestly, I was thinking about this, lifting and training, working out is supposed to improve your life. If you're just suffering, like it's going to be hard, but if you can't eat anything you like, what's the point of it? So what I recommend is you fit a little bit of junk in your diet. There's different ways to do this, but generally speaking. Okay, so I'm editing the video right now, and I just realized that I said the wrong number. So what I said though is I recommend you have about 80 to 90% of your diet basically consisting of whole, more healthy, nutrient-dense foods, whereas the rest of the 10 to 20% can be like whatever you want. Yeah, when I was filming, I accidentally said it the other way around. I said like 80% junk food, which you don't want to have because it's really bad for your health, but that's basically what I recommend. You can do more on some days, it doesn't matter that much, but really, it's just you're gonna feel much better doing this, and you're gonna have better energy to train, and also your digestion is gonna be better, which is another big thing. Usually these better quality foods are naturally better digesting. So this is one other thing to look out for. Find foods that digest well for you. So, but anyways, to get back to this, really, it's important. I think it's good to have balance. So you want to aim to have about I say aim fall like the 90-10 or 80-20 rule, whatever you like better. For me, I kind of I follow a meal plan for my coach. My coach me just because I'm at the point in my diet where in my bulk where I'm just like, food's food, I don't really care. So I follow a meal plan and I have 3 cheat meals per week. So really, I kind of naturally just fit that already. So that's that. But there's different ways to do this. So basically, you can have it, eat mainly good foods and enjoy treats once in a while to know how to fit them into your diet. All right, so to sum things up really, when it comes to nutrition, you need to be focusing on your calorie intake, and with your calorie intake, you need to have your protein target right, other macronutrient targets right, and have good meal timing, spread throughout the day, balanced meals basically, protein especially, make sure you get good protein spread throughout the day as well. Eat mostly micronutrient dense foods, but also allow a little bit of leeway for treats or foods that aren't as micronutrient dense foods. Roughly around 80% of your calories should come from 80 and 90% of your calories at least should come from micronutrient dense foods. But definitely enjoy life and know how to have the balance. And that's really what optimal nutrition comes down to make progress when it comes to bodybuilding, powerlifting, or just fitness in general. You don't have to follow any stupid diets like keto or whatever. You have to get these down. Just focus on getting these down and you'll have optimal nutrition. You'll see some great results and you'll enjoy your life and love it. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Share this to someone that doesn't know anything about nutrition or someone that is on keto and hates it. I keep bashing keto, guys, but I just think it's a stupid diet, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Done.